product is going into high value.
Calling Alistair Scott.
I'd like to reflect on a couple of points made earlier by Dr. Clark and Mr. Lees-Galloway, actually, when it was quite obvious that they hadn't been to the regions. They didn't know what was going on. There were contributions of woe and misery. So I just want to reflect on what's happening in the region that I represent, Wairarapa region. People are coming to the Wairarapa. They are coming to the Wairarapa from the Hawke's Bay, from Palmerston North. It is a GDP growth above average in the Wellington region. It has a GDP growth rate that is above the Wellington region's average, and that's because of several things. Tourism is on the up. 2.5 million people came to New Zealand as tourists in 2010, 3.3 last year, 3.3 million. Whether it's tourists from the boats that sit in Wellington Harbour driving over the hill to enjoy the wines, the balloon events, the aerodrome events. Tourism is one of those diversified industries that Mr. Cunliffe says that we do not have in this country. We have it, and it is succeeding, and it is contributing massively to the regions. I'm sorry to tell you the good news, guys, but the regions are doing well. Capital Pre-Cut Solutions is a company in the Wairarapa. Here's what they do. They take product from J&L, which is a laminated wood product, Kiwi Lumber, another local business. They cut it into bits. They form framing solutions, and they send it to Auckland. That is what regions can do. Exports to the larger cities and Christchurch, where the building activity is progressing, because we know that we are in a construction and building boom. Biggest construction and building boom ever. And this is, the Wairarapa is contributing to that building boom. Wainawa Log Hub, the Minister mentioned it earlier. That hub has doubled in size. That is a hub where thousands and thousands of truckloads of wood are going onto the rail. That hub is saving 16,000 truck movements. 16,000 truck movements are not going over that hill simply because of the railway network. So that is what is happening in the regions. Watson's Honey is another example. We've heard about Manuka honey, the thriving industry that it is, particularly along the east coast of the country. Watson's Honey is it's a 50% owned locally and 50% owned by Ngāi Tahu. That is demonstrating that new money is going into the regions. That business is looking for doctorate and master's graduates in laboratories to build their employee numbers in their laboratories. We're not talking low-skill jobs here. We're talking high-skill jobs in the regions. Karaka Whips is a simple business. It's a family-owned business. It exports whips throughout the world, all from the Wairarapa. Mr. Chair, I don't know where these guys have been, but they certainly have not been in the regions. They don't know what's going on in the regions. I do, and other MPs here who do represent regions do. And they talk about immigration funding. Well, Mr. Chair, it's been said before, but it's not the numbers of immigrants coming in, it's the people who are not leaving that is making the difference. It is people who are not leaving that are making the difference. For decades, we've been bringing in 40 to 50,000 new immigrants, but we've been doing that forever. The difference is because people are voting with their feet, they are choosing to stay. And I tell you what, you can't, despite these guys on the other side blaming immigrants, I tell you the facts. Last week I was in Nelson speaking to a group of people, and I asked them, how many of you were not born in New Zealand? I was quite surprised. About a third of them were not born in New Zealand, let alone in Nelson. So then I asked the question of the same group, how many of you were not born in Nelson? Virtually none of them were born in Nelson. They're all internal immigrants. Immigration and people are what makes this country great, Mr. Cunliffe. Immigration is what gives this country character and diversity and brings new ideas and entrepreneurial spirit. That is what we need in this country. We want to encourage it, not discourage it.
Calling James.